Okay. Looks like we have one more person trying to join here. Good morning, Christopher. You with us? Christopher Noop. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the, I'll read through the hearing script and then we'll jump right into this. So this is the December 15th, 2021 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city of Cincinnati and I'll preside over this hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20210176. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing, unless a party is offered to submit testimony or evidence in the form of writing prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there is anyone here from the public, they'll have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. The zoning plans examiner, Wes Menzel, will have an opportunity to provide any testimony that he would like. In the event any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to an application, excuse me, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. Interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony. That's generally testimony you'd like to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who is not present at this hearing. In the event of any technical difficulties or unforeseen circumstances with the video conferencing technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot that on the fly, but to the extent there's some fatal defect with the tech that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Let's get these folks checked in that just joined us. Is Christopher there?
Yes.
Hi, Christopher. Can you tell me your name and who you're representing here today?
Actually, I'm watching along with my wife, Carol Gracia. She owns the property on Ononta above the site.
Okay. So you're a neighboring property owner?
Yes.
Okay. And you're on Ononta?
Ononta, yeah.
Okay. And is your name Christopher Knoop?
Correct. And her name is Carol. She's the owner, Carol Gracia, Grasha.
Okay. And will either of you be testifying at all during this hearing? Would like to testify during this hearing?
I did have a question which may get covered.
Okay. So let's hold off on that for now.
Sure.
If you want to testify.
Yeah.
So hold on. My next line was going to be, if anyone would like to testify, intends to testify, make any comments, ask any questions, do anything other than just strictly observe, then you need to be sworn in, which is I'm about to do with some of these other witnesses. And you'll also need to activate your camera if you would like to testify. So Christopher, I'll give you 1 second there. Is it Jane Gorski?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Jane, do you intend on testifying here today?
No, I'm going to observe.
Okay, great, fantastic. Mr. Is it Knoop?
Knoop, yeah. Either way, I'm going to try to turn on the camera here.
Okay.
All right. There, is that on now?
No.
There, should be on now.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. All right. So anyone who would like to testify or intends on testifying needs you to be sworn. So if you would raise your right hand, and I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, great. All right. So I think we're ready to get started. Mark, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. So this project at 3118 Walworth is to the proposed project is to demolish an existing home and then build a new single family home. The new single family home is consistent with other new construction on Walworth, both in the infill kind of older part of Walworth, along with the newer development down the street at Walworth Junction. I think Wes did a really good job in his staff report, so I don't have a whole lot to add to that. The underlying zoning is RM 2.0. So when we run the maximum building envelope calculation, we are required to request a relief of 7 feet from the right side setback. As calculated, it shows a 9-foot MBE. We're requesting the 2 feet is within the what is allowed of the underlying zoning of RM 2.0. And then the other relief that we're asking for has to do with the cumulative cut and fill in retaining wall height. I'm going to share my screen to talk about that a little bit. So in what I'm sharing actually is page 6 from Wes's staff report that shows side elevation of the house, the proposed house. So we come into a garage. We have a slight step up to get into the lower level. 10-foot wall in the back of the house that has another step up to a patio that has another retaining wall. So while we're requesting 19 feet in total cut, when measured from the top of this retaining wall down to the bottom of the garage, the individual cuts are not greater than 11 feet. As we've stepped the foundation, the retaining walls up the hill. Wes did a good job on page 11 of outlining how the project complies with the hillside development standards. And I think most notably, I mean, this property, and we're not, I guess I should back up, we're not requesting any height relief as this diagram shows. But even with that said, this property backs up to Columbia Parkway, which then on the other side of Columbia Parkway has another steep incline. So it in no way hinders any views of any surrounding properties. So I think that's really it. So we're asking for relief on the right side to have a 2-foot setback on the right side or the east side. And then we're asking for a cumulative cut and fill up to 19 feet. And then a retaining wall, which is on the back of the home, to be around approximately 9 feet in height.
Anything else right now, Mark?
No.
Okay. Wes? Or I'm sorry, now would be, I think, time for Mr. Canoop. Mr. Canoop, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think my main question was about the backfilling after the project, after the foundations are poured. It just seems that my main concern would be that gets done, compaction gets done properly, and that gets done promptly, so that there's no long period of time when the retaining walls aren't doing their job supporting the hillside, just in case there's any movement down. By the way, hello, Mark. Hello, Wes.
Yeah.
So that was my main concern, was just about whether there's do you have a schedule? I mean, obviously you can't predict the weather, but we would hope you don't get a lot of. When are you proposing to start the project?
As soon as it's permitted and we're set to go.
Right. And how much overcut do you think there is beyond that back wall of that supports the terrace?
3 or 4 feet.
And that could all be probably granular fill there, so you don't have to worry about compacting it.
Quite a bit of it will, but yeah, we'll backfill before we start building the home. Cause I mean, quite frankly, we're not going to be able to get to the back of the home if we don't backfill right away.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's,
I think one thing I wanted to note too, with this project and all projects in the Hillside Overlay District, we will have a geotech that is tied to the project. That is Lee Newpel. He has written a report on this project. He will inspect the soil before we set the footer. He will inspect the structural metal in the footer and in the walls before they're poured. So he's going to follow that project. He's a geotechnical and a structural engineer.
Good. That's good to know.
Yeah. Any other questions, Mr. Knut?
No, I think that's all I've got right now. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your questions. Mr. Munzel, is there anything you want to add?
Good morning. No, I mean, I think just generally it's, an infill situation because of they're tearing down an existing house. There's going to be overlap on the foundation. So in this case, there might even be less impact on the hill than a normal vacant lot. But I don't have anything else to add besides my staff report.
Okay, thanks, Wes. Mark, this question obviously coming with not a whole lot of technical expertise on how these demolitions and rebuilds are done, but to what extent is this excavation already sort of exist from the pre-existing home?
Yeah, quite a bit. I think, yeah. So I need to share my screen again.
Sure.
So in page, what is that? Page 3 of Wes's staff report, he does have an image of these existing homes. So quite a bit of the existing excavation is already going to be there. I mean, we're not cutting at a depth lower than the current garage is today. We're going to cut a little bit deeper in terms of behind the home because this house is deeper than the current one. But rough guess is probably 2/3 of the excavation is done already, if not more.
Okay. And you mentioned that there's a lot of new construction. I know I've done a lot of houses on this street, but is there a lot of new construction happening in this same fashion where you're demoing homes and rebuilding?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just completed a project last year, 4 or 5 doors down, where we did the same exact thing. On the street too, I'd say I know of at least one other that's currently under construction, and there may be 2, but I know of at least one other.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all. Let's see, I think that's all the questions that I have.
Yeah, the address of the other home that we demolished and built a new home was at 3226 Walworth.
Okay. Are you increasing the setback of the or decreasing the setback of the existing homes? So by how much? It looks like it's already pretty dense here with these existing homes. So are you asking for a greater setback?
He would have a sorry, I was just gonna say your rear setback is conforming, I believe, but I'm not sure how it compares to the others. Or the existing house.
I'd have to look at the prior survey to see how it compares to the existing house. I know that I don't know for sure without looking.
Okay. All right. Mark, anything else in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
No.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that then. Let me just take a little bit longer look at this and review the application materials a little bit. As soon as I have a decision on this, I'll email you, Mark. In fact, I'll email everyone whose email that I have. If you were on the invite list or you received a Zoom invite for this, then I have your email and I will share the decision on this with everyone as soon as it's complete. It looks like I do have both Forsky and Canoop emails here. So as soon as I have a decision, I put it into a PDF and then immediately send it to everyone here in the hearing. So you all have this decision just moments after. Mark, I think you know how the process works.
Yep.
David?
Approval. So yeah, Wes, go ahead.
I actually, there is a rear yard setback variance request. It's in the report. So you were asking about that a minute ago. So it is a 19-foot variance for the rear setback.
So I think Mark said that the setback, this home is deeper than the last one. So
It
I
is.
understand. Yeah. And I get that. I was more concerned with that question about the side setback and how it compares to the existing side setback. But that's something that I can.
It's very similar, but I can't seem to find that information right away for you.
That's fine. I can look that up pretty easily. I just was curious if anyone here had it offhand. Mr. Canoop, were you trying to ask a question or interject there, Bill?
Yeah, I was just going to comment that the increased rear setback is really, if I understand the plans correctly, is not because the building is going that far back, it's the deck. Mark, you agree?
Yeah, it's that deck and retaining wall. And the other thing that you want to remember about that retaining wall is that is in part what's helping us step up the hill to minimize, an overly tall wall in the back of the house.
Right. Yeah, so it's not, it might sound as though 19 feet's a lot, but it's actually just for something that's really down, the deck, just something down low. So in terms of building mass, building cubage, there's not much there.
And that is as calculated by the MBE. It would be in compliance with the underlying zoning as well.
That's all. Thanks.
Hey, David, I was just checking the auditor's website because they have a sketch on their website for each house. And they show a 27-foot wide existing house that includes like a little wing on the right-hand side. So Mark's house is proposed at 25. So he's he's a bigger massing, and deeper, but a little narrower overall.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Wes.
And by the way, I do want to say hi to Chris because he and I used to work at Claremont County and he was on the planning commission 20 years ago. So hello,
Right.
How are you?
Good to see you, Wes.
Thanks.
That's fine. Yeah, it is certainly is a small world around here sometimes. Okay, well, thanks, guys. I think we'll leave it at that. Mark, I'll get this decision out to you as quickly as I can. If you want a status update or anything like that, just email me. If you have any questions, or if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Will do. Thanks, everyone.
Sure.